Visual art is a way of communicating with images, allowing our imagination to be seen outside of ourselves. It is a record of our existence and a relic of our human experience. Each of us possesses a unique set of tools to communicate meaningful ideas that connect us with others on a deeper level. The process of how and why an artist creates can be mysterious. The evolution of an idea can start from a deeply personal place or be sparked by something tangible or unconscious. Mosaic artists may have chosen this path of making because of its process and its tactile nature. Mosaic art gives an artist the ability to be incredibly sensitive and poetic in a way that differs from other art forms. The process of discovering the poetry within mosaic happens over time, with dedication, study, and practice. Do you create from an emotional place, or is it to tell a story? Or is it purely the desire to share beauty with the world? Here we will get a glimpse of 4 artists, all impassioned by mosaic, yet each driven by a different approach.
I was 9 years old, and with the teacher of the elementary school, after we studied Byzantine mosaics, we made a small project all together. And since that day, every day of my life, I work or think about doing mosaic. It's exactly the same. It's every time, every instant, it's like playing. We most all agree mosaic is a language, and creating a mosaic is like writing, and writing with the tessera I cut, it's the only way. Writing with or making mosaic with tessera cut by somebody else, it will be like talking with the words of somebody else. There is always a surprise. I really think there is no end in this process of learning, and every time I take a piece of stone, it's I don't know what I'm gonna find when I open it, or how it's gonna respond with the hammer. Plus, in the process of creating a mosaic, it's always a mix of knowledge and emotions who constantly cross each other, and knowing everything, it will be impossible. When I look in my work, I see it's like telling my story. It's there is a lot of personal story behind just the drawing to read.
I normally use a female form as my inspiration, and that's how usually I begin. And somewhere in the process, there's something that comes out that's inside of me that comes out into my art. My personality goes into the piece, and then there's like a special meaning to it that then comes out. Whatever it is, but it's during the process. I'm working through a feeling that I'm experiencing at that time. Whether I'm very sad or I'm very happy, I might be going through some kind of issue, and this art form really helps me work through whatever I'm going through in a really interesting way. What I really love about this art is that after this is said and done, my emotions come out like in such a wild way that in the end result, I've kind of like worked through it, but piece by piece, because this art form is not just about cutting a piece and following a picture. This was a whole process for me. It started with my feeling, and in the end, it tells a story. And I've worked. It's an amazing healing process since I've gotten into doing this. It's therapy for me.
It sort of evolves. It doesn't have like any direction. I ask myself how I'm feeling, and then I make a line, and then another line, and then I connect those lines, and I create this space around that line and that shape, and then I'll get frustrated and I'll do something like really mad at it, and then something turns out good about it. I don't know. It's a curious thing. At first, when I started mosaicing, I had an idea what I wanted to mosaic, and I would translate that into a mosaic using color and glass. I'm trying to incorporate more natural objects, less manufactured things. So I've moved a little away from glass. I've definitely moved away from beads, but I'm still incorporating stones and natural objects, and I'm using more marble. And then I'm using smalty, which is manufactured glass, but I cut it with my hands into my shapes. And then I use those shapes. I'm also have incorporated using ceramic material that I have fabricated. Again, ceramics for me is sort of like drawing in a sculptural way. I've just always worked with my hands. I was, whether it's mosaics or drawing or ceramics or sewing or knitting or cooking or fixing an object, taking things apart, putting things back together. I've always had a fascination with that, and I need my hands to do that. So it's a natural thing for me to do.
I love it, but at the same time, it's not easy. It's probably one of the most difficult things I've done in terms of kind of having an intersection of, physical force with concentration, with letting the process sweep me into a flow, but at the same time not letting myself get too carried away. Like, I have to be also practical, and I feel so fortunate because I'm able to work with other artists, be inspired by other mosaicists. And in this piece, for example, I see all these different people who I feel gratitude for, because it wouldn't be this way without all of them. It's something that my arms and hands want to do. There's this force, there's almost like this magnetism that it has. I just feel like there's this pull. I'm just pulled to it.